Hey everybody, it's Chisei here. For a while now, I've been meaning to make videos reviewing Pretty Cure episodes, but I've never gotten around to it because I've just forgotten or I've been busy. So I figured maybe I'll try giving it a chance again with Otona Precure, because I would definitely like to review episodes like this. This video will also differ in the fact that I am not using a script. For prior commentary style videos, I have used a script because it's easier for me so I don't ramble, but because episode reviews, like weekly reviews, are hard to make, I think going unscripted will help me produce those faster, so I apologize in advance if I am too rambly, but that's what we're gonna go with, and it's worth experimenting with anyways. I do have at least some notes to the side that I can be reading off of so I can have a general idea of what I want to talk about, so hopefully it's not too bad. Also, please enjoy my totally scuffed Stardew Valley gameplay in the background. That will also massively help me produce these faster, but also because Toei is a bitch about copyright and I will not be able to play clips like I would like to, so yeah, you're getting Stardew Valley gameplay. Alright, I think that's everything I needed to address before we get started, so why don't we mosey on over and start discussing my thoughts. Otona Precure was announced as a sort of side project sequel to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Pretty Cure franchise, and it is going to follow the characters from Yes Precure 5 slash Yes Precure 5 Go Go and Futarewa Precure Splash Star as they continue on into adult lives and look back on their time as Pretty Cure. I'm still making my way through watching a bunch of the Pretty Cure series, so I have not watched Splash Star, I have not watched Go Go, and I have only watched the first 5 episodes of Yes 5, so I'm not as familiar with a lot of the side characters and their interactions and their history, and I'm not familiar with a lot of this, but I still, of course, I'm gonna watch this series because it's Pretty Cure. I love Pretty Cure, and even from what little I have seen of Yes Precure 5, I love Nozomi. I love those characters. I love the entire group. So I'm gonna watch this show and I'm gonna talk about it because it's Precure and I love it. Since this is the first episode, I'd like to also give some of my comments on some basic things like the art style of the show. I think so far it's looking really good. The animation is pretty smooth. Granted, it was like a slice of life. There wasn't much to animate, but I thought it was overall pretty good. I really do like the style they went for because it's sort of Pretty Cure-esque, but also its own thing, and I think they meshed those two well together. Because if you didn't know, Toshiya Kawamura, who was the original character designer for Yes Precure 5 and Yes Precure 5 Go Go, she's not the character designer for Otona. Instead, it is a person or a lady called Atsuko Nakajima, and I think Nakajima did a really good job sort of meshing Kawamura's style with her own, and it produced something really nice that I think looks really good. The one thing I will say I'm not really liking so far is like the hair gradient they do with like the coloring of the hair, because if you look at it, especially on Nozomi, you can really tell since she was the main focus of episode 1. At the top of their hair it's like a really light color, and the middle of their hair it's a medium toned color, and at the bottom it's a darker toned color, and this doesn't include any shading. It's like they have like three-toned gradiated hair, and it kind of looks really weird when it's not blended well, and I don't I don't really like it, but that's just kind of a nitpick with me personally. But otherwise, I think the art style looks really good. It's translating to animation well. It's giving the Pretty Cure feel while not being too Pretty Cure-esque. I don't know. I think it's going to work really well for the series. So before I give more of my thoughts on the specifics of the episode, I'm gonna go ahead and read off a quick summary. This part I did script out so I don't ramble forever, but I'm gonna read a quick summary so you kind of have an idea of what's going on in the episode, just in case you haven't watched it yet. Although if you haven't watched it yet and still would like to so you aren't spoiled, please go leave the video, pause, go watch it, come back. This is your preemptive warning because we're gonna get into spoilers. There's not much to spoil, but, just in case, this is your official spoiler warning. The episode opens up on a monologue from Nozomi talking about how everyone in life will choose a path for their future. She mentions how some people get lost on that path, but eventually find their way forwards once more. We transition to see Nozomi as an adult getting ready for the day. As she continues to monologue, we see pictures of her from when she was in middle school alongside her friends as well as Coco. Blech. After the opening sequence, we are shown Nozomi, who, as an adult, is working in a private elementary school. She's giving a lesson on global warming and is asking the students what they believe could be some adverse effects of the situation if it continues. After class, she sees a student, Rumi Katagiri, standing off to the side looking sullen. Nozomi asks her if she's going to the dance club, but Rumi simply says no and runs off. She runs to the gym where she watches the club as they practice. Nozomi shows up, and this is when Rumi reveals that she is moving away and that her new school doesn't have a dance club. Nozomi tells her that she shouldn't give up and gives her some words of encouragement before offering to help Rumi achieve her dream. After this meeting, she heads to the principal's office to propose a way of helping Rumi. The principal rejects her idea, as Rumi's parents had already submitted the paperwork to transfer her to the other school, and because Nozomi's idea wasn't realistic. The day passes, and we see Rumi's father arguing with a businessman over the phone about them no longer wanting to buy his products. He begs them to continue doing business with him, but they refuse and end the call. He storms outside and kicks a box, which causes it to fall into the river and spill garbage everywhere. Nozomi meets up with Rin, and they go to a friend's restaurant while telling each other about their hardships at work. Rin mentions how she is finding difficulty with having her designs for jewelry chosen for the company she works at, while Nozomi mentions everything happening with Rumi. The next day, Nozomi pays a visit to Rumi's dad, who informs her that he and Rumi's mom are getting divorced. Nozomi is shocked and asks about what will happen to Rumi's pursuit of her dreams, and her dad responds in a harsh manner about how his company is failing and Nozomi can't do anything to help, so she shouldn't meddle. Nozomi leaves, and Rumi apologizes for her dad's behavior before saying that she plans on creating a dance club at her new school so she can continue to pursue her dream of dancing. Nozomi and Rin meet up once more and begin to share their woes again. Nozomi confirms to Rin that the conversation with Rumi's father didn't go well, and then wonders if maybe, if they were still able to become pretty cures, she could have done something more to help. Then, out of nowhere, Nozomi shouts the old transformation phrase, which greatly embarrasses Rin as they are in a crowded area. However, it does draw their former friends, Urara, Komachi, and Karen, to the area as well. Everyone is excited to see each other, and they all agree to go back to the restaurant for a round of drinking. Once they enter, they also run into Kurumi. Urara mentions how it is weird that they all ran into each other now, even though they had mostly lost touch once they graduated school. Kurumi follows this up with how it isn't just a coincidence, there's a reason why they were brought together, and theorizes that something may be happening that requires them to be together again. So my first impressions of the series based off of the first episode is that it's really good so far. I liked the structure of the episode, how it wasn't immediately throwing us back in to, like, them becoming pretty cure. Because if you notice, they didn't actually transform. There was no pretty curing, so to speak. I like how this isn't dropping us just like right back in and is kind of easing us into a new normal for these characters in a way. And the beginning dialogue I also really appreciate because Nozomi mentions how a lot of people will tend to feel lost or they don't know what they're doing in their future, and I went through something very similar, so I related a lot to that monologue in the beginning because like a lot of people, lot of young adults going into adulthood, into college, I found myself in a place where I did not know what I wanted to do. I thought I did, and then eventually I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. If I go down this path, I'm going to be miserable. I will suffer for it or something. And so I was stuck in limbo for a while, not knowing what I wanted to do until I found the hospitality program at my school, and that's what I'm pursuing now because I found an interest in that, and it makes me a lot happier than where I was going before. So Nozomi's monologue at the beginning about people as they move into their future not always finding the right path or feeling lost at times, that really struck a chord and hit home for me because I went through something very similar recently, and now I feel like I am on a path to where I can succeed later down the line. Sappy BS aside, and back to the commentary. I love the look of the town. I don't know what it's called because again, I have not watched very much of Yes Precure 5 or whatever, but I love the look of it. The buildings all look so bright and beautiful, and the clock tower looks great. We see a lot of it in the episode, so it's a good thing. I really love the look of the town. Um, and then later when we get that montage of all those pictures of Nozomi's middle school years, the way I fucking cringed at Coco. I cannot stand Coco. I'm not holding out my hopes that he doesn't show up, but I really hope he does not. If he does show up, I really hope he does not have a big role, because I'm not gonna lie, Coco is a big reason why I am struggling to watch Yes 5, because if you know, you know, and also in his fairy form, he is so fucking annoying. I cannot stand his voice. Okay, that's besides the point. Ranting aside, let's move on. The opening is beautiful. I love it so much. The animation was great. The sequence was great. I love how it, started on them as adults, but then went to them fighting as Precure once again in the past. The singer for the song, or the group or whatever, Iki Monogakari, they also did the theme song for All Stars F that just aired in Japan recently. And I think both songs are great, and this one specifically really fits the vibe of like people moving into adulthood. It's beautiful and it works, and the animation sequence is really great, and I think it's going to be a really strong opening for the rest of the season. And then, like, what surprised me the most about this episode was how they were talking about global warming, which was weird to me because it's pretty clear. Traditionally, like, they don't talk about worldwide issues like this. And maybe it's because it's supposed to be the characters moving into adulthood, and so they're going to address adult topics. But even though this series is technically aimed at older fans of Pretty Cure, it's also, in a way, also meant for kids, so like kids could also watch it. So it was kind of odd to me that they chose to tackle such a hot button issue, but it's definitely an important issue that needs to be addressed. So I kind of laugh about it. I'm just like, are the Pretty Cure basically going to be taking on global warming now? Is this the plot of the season? Which I kind of hope it is, because that would be really cool to see. Oh, and quick note before I continue. This may seem structured, like it's weirdly structured, but that's because I'm reading and making comments on the notes I wrote, because I watched the episode again today and I wrote notes, and they're kind of structured weirdly, so I apologize if the rest of this video is kind of unstructured, but just so you know, it's because I'm reading off of my really bad notes. Anyways, moving back to the commentary, I really love how they've kept Nozomi's dorky, childlike personality. Because even though I haven't watched much of Yes 5 yet, I love that personality of hers. She's so peppy and dorky, and it's like, God, I love her, and I love that they've kept that even though she's an adult. And again, that's another thing I relate to, because it's like, why should I have to mature? Like, why can't I be a dork all the time? Like, come on now. So the Splash Star characters that are supposed to be here didn't get a lot of... Actually, no, they didn't get any focus. It was literally just the S5 Go-Go characters. But I did love that little teasing of the Kiryu sisters in that little, like, streaming group they did that the students mentioned to Nozomi. I haven't watched Splash Star either, again, so I don't know much about them, but I still, like, outwardly screamed in, like, excitement when I watched that, because I'm like, oh my god, yes, they're here! They are acknowledging these characters. I loved that, so that little nod was cool. And another nod that I loved was when Rumi was first watching the dance practice as she was kind of sulking outside. You see the characters or the people dancing inside, and the background music was Gambaran Stay Dance. Oh my god. I love Gambaran Stay Dance. Every single version of it. I love them all, so I was thrilled when they were using that as background music. And I kind of hope they actually reuse the song in the series some way, because god tier Precure ending. And then in regards to, like, Nozomi wanting to help Rumi with the dance thing, I saw some people on Twitter kind of arguing about, like, Nozomi's idea being kind of stupid and, like, not really realistic, which it wasn't, because what she was trying to do was convince the principal of the school to, like, make a scholarship or something for Rumi so she could still attend the dance club or whatever. The exact details aren't exactly clear, but the principal brings up, it's like, so you want to give special treatment to this kid? Nozomi's like, no, I want to help support like a bunch of gifted students and skilled students. But then the principal retorts with, well, are you going to pay her tuition? Nozomi says no, duh. And then it's just kind of left in the air. It's kind of a dumb idea. And yeah, no, I agree. It wasn't really realistic, but I mean, I guess when you want to do whatever you can to help your students, I mean, I don't know if you always think rationally, but I'm not a teacher, so I wouldn't know. We then get a quick back-to-back scene of people. It's like this is where they kind of start hammering in the global warming theme, because we see people like accidentally dropping their bags and not picking it up. A couple arguing over the husband leaving the light on overnight in the bathroom and stuff like that. It's like they just little things that totally tie into the global warming theme, and these keep coming up throughout the episode. And I like the repetition because it enforces it, which is what makes me think it's going to be a continuous theme throughout the season, however long that may be. I mean, after this sequence, though, we're introduced to Rumi's dad, who is arguing with those corporate executives because they don't want to use his products because they're too expensive. But they'll last, or Rumi's father argues that they'll last longer. Like, yes, they're expensive, but they'll save you money in the long run because they last longer. But, the greedy corporate executive shitheads are greedy corporate executive shitheads, and they're like, no, we don't care, we don't want to do business with you because it's too expensive. And then they hang up, because, duh. Greedy corporate execs. And Rumi's father's like rightfully pissed off by that because he, like in anger, kicks a box of stuff that's by this railing and he knocks it into the river. And it, again, hammering into the theme of global warming bad, pick up after yourself, basically. Like they show all of this trash that was in this box just floating into the river. And I mean, realistically, he couldn't do anything to solve it because you don't want to fucking drown in a river. But like he kind of is apathetic about it because it's like you see him just look at it and be like, oh shit, I should pick this up, but then he just kind of says fuck it and leaves, because what can he do? He's in a shitty spot, why should he care? And I don't know. And then when Nozomi and Rin meet up, like comment Rin made about her, it's like after Nozomi tripped, like you're grown up now, you should walk like one. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm just gonna use that to make fun of my mom and my sister because they're very clumsy. Side note, also because we saw Nozomi on her way to meet up with Rin, and she like looked at her phone and was like, "Oh shoot, I'm late." The phone or the time on her phone said 17:54, which is like I think 5:54 p.m. Don't quote me on that. I don't know 24-hour time. But then when she finally meets up with Rin and they're like, oh, our phones weren't working, yada yada, and Rin checks hers, the time then reads 19:10, which is like 7:10-ish. And my first thought when I saw that was like, there's no fucking way Nozomi took over an hour to get to Rin. Like, the setting barely changed, the lighting barely changed. It's like, there's no way this actually took you an hour. So I just kind of chuckled when I noticed that. And then again, going back to the global warming theme, well, maybe not exactly. The villain, who I don't think has a name yet, she pops up periodically throughout the episode to give commentary about how time cannot be stopped, it cannot be rewound, time cannot be, like 90% of what she says in this episode is time cannot be stopped, time cannot be rewound. And I wanted to think that's tied into the global warming theme because like the emphasis on specifically the time cannot be rewound. It's like we've already done so much damage to the planet, we can't take it back, and we can't stop time to prevent it from happening. So it's like I'm not quite sure if the villains are going to be like, or the conflict is going to be based on global warming specifically, or if it was just an episode 1 theme. But the way the time cannot be stopped, time cannot be rewound message was repeated, and the global warming bad message was repeated, makes me want to think those two are tied together and will be an important plot point for the conflict of the season, if they're actually fighting. I'm starting to think I don't need to make commentaries on all of these notes. Okay, moving beyond some, like, dumb things I don't think I actually need to talk about. Uh, I don't know if y'all noticed the eye catch, like the thing that happens in the middle of the episode, was like the exact same as the Yes Precure 5 one, or it might be Go Go. I don't remember if it's Go Go or just Yes 5, but one of those they like used the same music for the eye catch. I loved that. Another cool callback. And then, when we get back into the episode, it's like the next day. I was confused because Nozomi just like she goes to, Rumi's house to ask her father about like how they can help. It, do teachers in Japan or just is this just like a serious thing? Can they just go to their student's house? I don't know if it's because like maybe their house is their storefront or something. I was kind of confused by that, but like I don't know. I'm just gonna chalk it up to that their house is also their storefront, and that's why she can just waltz up. But it just kind of felt weird to me that she can just go visit a student's house whenever like she wants to, I guess. And while the dad wasn't a bit of an asshat, he kind of did make some valid points. It's just like, what is Nozomi supposed to do to help him with his company? It's just like she can't prevent them from moving. I don't know. He was an ass about it, but he kind of made some points. And then afterwards, Nozomi and Udine meet up again, and they're talking about stuff. I guess Udine does soccer. I'm not sure if it's like professional or hobby or whatever, but she does that. That's kind of cool. And then it's like after this, this is when Nozomi does that whole Purikya Metamorphose! Just in the middle of the fucking square, and then Rin just dies, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking sorry. I'm sorry, my dumbass friend, to all the other people in the area. And just, I love that. I got a massive kick out of that. Uh, Although, like, and then when everybody else showed up, like Urara, Komachi, Karen, when they showed up, it seemed like a bit too quickly and out of nowhere. But then that was addressed later by Kurumi, yada yada. I just, when they all got together, I was so happy. It's just like these people didn't have a part in the episode, but they're here, and I'm happy to see the whole team here. Ah, I don't know. Also, I love Urara's hair being down. I love that for her adult design. But okay, now everyone's here. They're gonna go drinking. That was another thing. Just like specifically, Nozomi says, "Let's all go drinking. It's decided." And that's, I just, there's something funny about that being a Precure thing and it being a kids show, but they're gonna go drinking. I laughed at that a little bit. And then they go to the restaurant where they went the night prior, and Kurumi's there. And I also love Kurumi's adult design. Like, I love the way they did her hair. It looks so pretty. Uh, but I don't know, they're all together now. It's all six of them. Yay! And then they cut away once more to like the effects of like the global warming message because we see Virumi's dad watching the TV at night, and this is also when like the bad guy monster or like the monster, I don't know what to call him, but like a monster appears from his negative energy and he collapses because of it. And like this model is so fucking scuffed. This is like not good CGI by Precure standards, but that's fine. But then we cut back to the group, and that's when Kurumi gives the message of, this isn't a coincidence. There has to be some reason why, like, destiny has brought us back together or something. Uh, yeah, and then the episode's over. Well, I mean, I guess not because there's still the ending sequence, but there's not much to talk about because it's not choreographed like the main series Precure endings. But what they did do, which was really neat, is they did some callbacks to the original Yes Precure 5 ending by like redrawing the girls in like the same poses and just like in their adult forms. It was really nice to see that like callback. And then another thing that was present throughout the ending and also the opening sequence, I didn't mention this, but you see like a bunch of Roman numerals like flying around as like a sort of particle effect in both sequences. And then in the ending sequence, all of the girls like catch these like light objects like a pocket watch or an hourglass or stuff like that. It's like there's a specific relevance and repeated message of time and clocks. So that part I liked how they put that emphasis kind of, I mean, subtly maybe, with the Roman numerals because the clock tower in the town has Roman numerals, and that repetition, I really like that. So I don't know. I think it was a pretty good ending sequence. I love the song. I don't know. It was pretty good, even though it wasn't choreographed. It shows that you don't need that in a Pretty Cure series, and it can still be great. And of course, not much to mention about the episode preview because it's a preview. But I'm kind of hoping that they do transform into Pretty Cure again and get to fight. And I feel like it was kind of implied in the preview, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. I'm just kind of excited that that may happen. We'll see. And I think that's gonna be it for this video. I'm looking at the time and I've just hit like 20 minutes, 25 minutes on the recording, which I think is a little too long for what I intended, but this is my first time doing this, so I apologize. But I hope you did enjoy regardless. I hope I wasn't too rambly. If you have any feedback, definitely leave it in the comments. I'll try to make these better. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you'd like to check out any of my social media, like my Twitter, my DeviantArt, my Otona Precure on AO3 and whatnot, I'll leave all the relevant links down below that you can check out. And yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Have fun, don't die.